Joey, thanks for joining us, mate. First question I've got to ask is, how have you enjoyed the Brisbane and the move up here?
Yeah, look, mate, I've really enjoyed it and settled in over a couple of months. It took a little bit of time to get used to a new environment, but no, I'm certainly loving the city and loving being in a different environment.
What's the biggest change? I noticed for myself in Melbourne, traffic.
Yeah, traffic's been beautiful. They're non-existent. I lived just off Punt Road in Melbourne, so traffic was a big part of my life. And to come up here, it's non-existent, and we're starting to get some beautiful weather. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, we went a couple of weeks of downpour. It seems like you've over summer you worked on your tan a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. The last 3 weeks in Melbourne didn't help, but yeah, nice to be back up in Brizzy, and hopefully a pretty clear run at the rest of the year.
Who's obviously when you go to a new club, I know a few guys caught my attention, whether on how good they were, how professional they were. Who's sort of been someone who you've been surprised with when you moved to Brisbane?
Yeah, look, I didn't have a great grasp on the list until I got up here, but it's been really exciting to really exciting to work with a lot of guys over the pre-season in particular, and particularly that older bracket of players. Their leadership has been something that I've been really impressed by. I'm talking about guys like Ryan Lester, Daniel Rich, Dane Zorko is a terrific leader, Harris Andrews. So these sorts of guys, you can see where the football club's come from, and it's built off the back of a lot of those guys' leadership. So that's been really impressive to see.
Well, my first opinion when you came up here is I went and did a couple of separate training sessions. There was groups training together, and you were training with Harris Andrews and Ryan Lester. And I personally thought to myself, I said they're two of the best blokes to learn off as far as culture and actually where the football club's coming from. You and Harris had a bit of a run-in prior to coming up here a few years ago.
Yeah. Harris beautifully punched my 2 front teeth out a few years back. So I was a bit shattered to get up here and learn that he's a beautiful man and a lovely guy. So as you mentioned, I was lucky enough to get here a little bit earlier and do a lot of training with those guys, and it was just a good introduction for me to feel a little bit more comfortable at the football club, get to know them, and as the season started, get the ball rolling.
And coming around into the footy season, personally, and I've spoken to a lot of other people who've changed clubs, it's that hard to sort of find the mix, especially early on with limited pre-season. How have you found the first few rounds with gelling with the forwards that you've been playing with? Yeah,
look, you look at the situation, it's always going to be a challenge to come in and get that chemistry right early, and I think the most important thing is just to involve myself in the group and make sure I can learn how these guys tick, especially in the front half of the ground, working really close with the forwards, see how they play, and as time develops I'll certainly get a little bit more comfortable with that, but for the first part of the season it's been really enjoyable. Haven't quite got the results we're after, but we'll keep working and hopefully they start to come.
With the game coming up this weekend, obviously it's a big one against your old mob. Talking to Grant Birchall, he goes as soon as the schedule came out, he circled Hawthorn. He goes he couldn't wait to play against them. Lucky for him, it was round 1. What about yourself? Did you look at the game straight up and say, "Oh, I'm looking forward to this one"?
Yeah, coming off the last few years and my continuity with playing the game, I've learned not to look too far ahead, and I've really enjoyed getting back out there and just playing consistent football, and I'm enjoying just looking at the next week, and now I've got to the point where it is Essendon the next week, and that's really exciting. It's going to be a really enjoyable experience for me. I think a few of my teammates will really enjoy the experience and enjoy the week, but it might be something that I look back in retrospect and look back and say how enjoyable was that, but for the time being, for this week, it's all just business and making sure I prepare in the right mindset to play and perform for the football club.
Have you had any messages from him?
Not yet, no. I'm sure they'll start to come later in the week. I'm sure there'll be a few get up to Brisbane early and want to enjoy a bit of the sunshine and get out of Melbourne, so I'm sure those messages will come, but a lot of those guys I haven't seen for a long time, given COVID situation and scenario, and it'd be nice to hopefully cross paths with them after the game.
Do you reckon they'll be physical, lippy? Because I know that Isaac Smith played against Hawthorn the other day. Not one person said a word to him. I know when I played against Hawthorn here, they did not say one peep to you. Do you reckon they'll be a bit lippy, or do you reckon they'll be focused on their own roles? Yeah,
I'm not too sure. I think the modern game makes it reasonably challenging to get lippy. I think Isaac Smith might be a different example there, but the game moves so quickly. I think there might be a couple of words when You know, there's a stop in play, but I think, you know, the most important thing is focusing on the game and trying to get the results. And I'll be, you know, very conscious to try and put out my best performance for the football club, and make sure I continue to work on this chemistry with the guys up forward.
What does this mean for the footy club? Obviously, you sit in a position at 1 and 3. You've had a couple close losses. The Geelong one that could have went either way with a tackle played holding the ball, and then the Doggies one where, at the score, you probably played better in certain areas than what the score reflects. How important is this game for the club?
Yeah, look, it's really important. I think you know, the process and the way that we attack our weeks is really important, and it's been a unique start for the year for us. I mean, we didn't plan to spend a couple extra weeks in Melbourne. We had a game moved, and all these sorts of things that we just need to get on with, need to put behind us. And we'd love to be sitting here 4-0. We're not. We need to stick to our guns, stick to our process, and as you know, it's a long season, and if we continue with that mindset, at the end of the season we'll be in a much better position.
Perfect. Last one on the trip down there. So you pack for 2 days and you come back 20 days later. How was that with I guess everyone? It seemed like the group, I went and watched a couple training sessions, it seemed like the group was still upbeat and energetic, even though they were sort of unsure what the next move was from day in to the next.
Yeah, it was a challenge not knowing what you know, was coming up, and in regards to planning to training. But I think the group handled it really well, and we're actually going to come out of those couple of weeks in Melbourne, I think, in a better situation. I think it's not a bad thing to spend you know, 24 hours a day with your teammates early on in the season. Just gives us that little bit of extra time together, and for me to sort of fit into a new environment was really important. So hopefully that holds us in good stead as we kick back into a more normal routine.
Perfect, mate. Well, thanks for your time, and good luck this Saturday night against the old foe.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.